Altrincham have gone down to a 3-0 defeat here against Barnet at the Hive with Phil Parkinson. Phil, a tough day today. What are your reflections on the game today?
Yeah, I think when you come to Barnet, particularly this season, the top of the league, the fly-in, it's always going to be a really tough ask for us to come and get anything, and that was the challenge to the players. Unfortunately, we were found wanting today.
First 10 minutes or so we were under a bit of pressure, and I feel like I have to raise it's a familiar Achilles heel defending corners. We conceded from a corner. It was the fourth corner in a row. We defended the first three, we weren't able to defend that fourth one. Is that how much of a concern is that as an area?
No, it's not a concern at all. It's obviously something we've got to work on and do better with. Every team in this division, I'm sick of saying it to everyone who asks me the same question week in, week out. I understand everybody's frustrations as fans, but if we concede from open play, is that going to be an issue then as well? It's something that every team in this division are really good at, and if you concede a lot of corners, you're susceptible to concede from them. Are we a team that are built just purely to defend corners? No. And I've said it a million times, we either change fundamentally what we are, or we believe in what we do and we have to work to get better and more efficient at that. We've come to top of the league and they've exploited it. We've played against Bromley, Chesterfield, those types of teams. There's always going to be an extra man overload. Can we defend them better? Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm not burying my head in the sand about that. But ultimately, every manager in the league's got to answer that question. Then, when we concede a goal, if it's a set piece, if it's from open play, we've got to do better with any type of goal that we concede. So, can we do better with that? Absolutely, and we've got to. But ultimately, we're playing top of the league, and everyone's got. I think it's been a bit of a reality check, really, in terms of everyone can see the team, can see the great strides the club's made, the investment the club have made in players. But that's what I've said all along. There's a huge gulf in this division, and we're trying to bridge it, and we're getting there. And I think we were bottom of the league at this point last season. So take a bit of a. Like I said, a reality check of where we are and what we're up against. And like I said, we didn't deserve to win today. It's hard for me to say that. We were beaten by a better team in every department, and there'll certainly be no excuses from me on that viewpoint. The bit we've got to do is look at our weaknesses, get better at that, and also be better at what we're really good at. And I didn't think we did that well enough today, because they're a really good team and they didn't allow us to be, and whether we like it or not, we're not quite there. And I said it a few weeks ago when we won, everybody's getting excited about playoffs. For me, to break through to the top 12 was always the objective, in terms of can we improve on where we've been. Now that doesn't mean I want to settle for that. I'd love us to do even better, but ultimately we've got to realise where we are, and that for me is the first time we've been beat away from home this season. The first time we got beat at home this season. We've been beat by Bromley, who we should have beat, by the way, not just lost to. Never mind draw. And we've been well beaten by Barnet. So I'll take that. I understand that it's not great to lose 2 games, but it's not like we've been playing mediocre teams. We're playing teams who are going to be right up there.
The one sort of chance we had, it feels like, to make this a different day was the mid-period of that first half, where we were playing pretty well and creating chances but never quite connecting in that final third. And I guess, as you've touched on the fact we were second best in the end, but that's the one period when things could have gone a bit differently, perhaps. Exactly,
and goals change games, and that didn't happen for us last week at Bromley. We didn't take our chances. They've took 2, so it's frustrating that, but we are an offensive minded team. If I come here and banked up and was really defensive, everybody would have had a look at it and said, well, why are we bowing down to Barnet? We went toe to toe with Chesterfield, we won. We've come here and tried to go toe to toe, and unfortunately we've been found out. The fans want to see an attractive and aggressive type of football. We weren't attractive today, we weren't aggressive enough. We can talk about the weather. It was difficult for the players, but it was difficult for them. We can talk about the travel, but no, we came down last night, we prepared right, but on the day we were just beaten by a better team, and it's hard for me to stand in front of you and say that, but there's no point in me trying to smoke and mirror you. You can see what I can see, so there's times I'll come out and defend us when the performance is there. The performance wasn't there today, we didn't do enough.
Maybe the most worrying aspect of the day was the injury to Ollie Crankshaw. Any other indication about how serious an injury?
No, not yet. So I don't want to worry anybody, but obviously the way he went down, it didn't look great, did it? So we'll cross everything that Ollie's okay. That'll be a major blow for us if there's anything there. And obviously, again, these things happen in the season. We have to adapt. But look what we could bring on. Justin Donowa, It's not like we're bringing on kids, so having him back's a big plus, but to lose Ollie in the same time, and then Regan, I know there'll be an update on Regan, but we'll lose Regan for a period of time now as well, George Wilson. So every team goes through these little injury spouts. We're having one right now, but ultimately we've still got good players on the pitch, and I believe in the squad. We'll regroup, we've got a good week to work with them now, and we'll get ready for Wealdstone.
One small positive, I guess, was another excellent penalty save from Ethan Ross. It's his second one this time. The follow-up didn't lead to another penalty, thankfully, and but that will give him a good bit of confidence to have made those 2 penalty saves in succession.
Yeah, I thought Ethan was probably our man of the match today, considering we lost 3-0. People might raise an eyebrow at that, but I thought he was superb. And then I'm struggling to find out somebody who's at the level we'd expect them to be, which is why we've been comprehensively beaten. And Dean could smell that at the side. He wanted more goals, I could tell, and that's the bit we've got to do better. And when it's not our day, we need to keep the scoreline even more respectable in terms of 3-0. They deserve 3-0, but could we have made that a 1-0 or a 2-0, because it wasn't our day and we weren't hurting them as much attacking. So there are things that I've got to look at as well as a manager with regards how we set up. So I've said there, our fans want to see us go toe to toe, want to see us playing an attacking style of football, but I think ultimately when we're coming to these types of places, maybe I'm going to have to have a bit of a humility check and sort of decide that we are going to play an extra defender, and we are going to be a little bit more reserved, but ultimately that's not kind of in my DNA. I want to go and try and win games, and we can still do it in different shapes, but I always feel with our most attacking players on the pitch, I'd back us against anyone, but I think we've seen today against a team who were top of the league and will definitely be in the playoffs unless the wheels fall off here, because they look that strong at the moment, that we'll have to address how we approach away fixtures against the playoff teams.
You've touched on again a small positive, Justin Dunaway coming on after injury, and another one, a debut for George Burrows, who came on obviously for obvious reasons for Lewis Banks, but I thought he did well, and that's another positive to get him with some game time under his belt. Absolutely, and that's why he's here. There's no point in me having George here if we're not going to use him when needed. Won't talk too much about the circumstances of why we made that substitute, but it's disappointing when teams are trying to get a lad sent off and you have to make that change. I understand gamesmanship and all that, but I'd like to think a team like what you're seeing we're playing against, they don't need to do that. So as great as I'll say they are, I was a little bit disappointed with that, but yeah, listen, Dean's a great manager. He's got this place bouncing when you think about where they were at before, and you just look at it, and I say to our fans all the time when we turn up to stadiums, just have a little look at what we're coming up against, what you're turning up to, what we have at home, and what we're competing with and what we expect our players to be able to do every single week. We're just not there yet. We're not far away. We're massively improved on last season. We're bridging gaps all over the place. I know people say he said that last season, but that's where we are. We're on a journey, so it doesn't just happen. It's a long-term project here, so I'll take that on the chin. It really hurts. I never want to get beat 3-0. I never want to get comprehensively beaten 3-0 as well. So for me, it wasn't, I can't stand in front here and pick holes in. We've not been clinical enough, and they've took every chance. We've been comprehensively beaten by Barnet, who were top of the league, going great guns. Our first away defeat of the season. As much as I'm hurting about it, I'm not gonna lose loads of sleep. The bits that I'll lose loads of sleep on is if we don't get a reaction and we don't get performances going into the next sequence of games. Well, you've touched on that already, but I guess the big thing now, we've tended to have good runs and then not so good runs, and it's important now, we're having lost the last two in different circumstances, to go to Wealdstone, a ground we've not had much joy at since we've been back up, and get something from that game and end this ban. Yeah, definitely, but I know I say it a lot, and I'll just keep re-emphasising their messages. When I looked at the start of the season, and this was probably the last fixture in terms of the opening 6 weeks. No, Wealdstone next week, sorry, the opening 6 weeks. 5 of the playoff teams, we've beat 2 of them. We've lost to 2. Yeah, we've drawn with 1. We've not done too bad. All right, this is a good group. We'll come back, we'll have ups and downs in this division. As I said, look at what we're coming to. Look at how far we've come. We'll be absolutely fine. We'll regroup, we'll bounce back. And I'll give you something to smile about, and the team will give you something to smile about, I'm sure. So stick with us. I know it's hard. Come at me like they always do on social media. I'm ready. I know what's coming. But don't take it out on the players. I'm the one who picks the team. I decided to go toe-to-toe with Barnet, not go conservative. So I'll take that one. But ultimately,
that's the type of team I want to see, a team who will go and take it to an opponent, and unfortunately we've been found wanting today.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.